Hello everyone and welcome back. It's a brand new week. And believe it or not, today marks the final day of June. That in itself brings a certain excitement, doesn't it? It feels like we're teetering on the brink of something big. Over at Celtic, they're back in training. And even better, the season's atmosphere has already taken hold. We're all set for the first friendly of preseason on Friday evening. And let me tell you, the mood is buzzing after the close seasons. We finally have proper football to talk about again, and the fresh squad is looking sharp. Now let's dive straight into today's main talking point, our next potential signing. That's right, there's a fair bit of chatter heading our way regarding a new defender. And this one's coming from Japan. But before we get into that, a quick note: if you missed it over the weekend, we dropped a video featuring a chat with an Arsenal fan digging into Kieran Tierney's time at Arsenal and how he's grown over the past 6 years. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't caught it yet. Tierney, of course, isn't back at Lennox Town just yet, but hey, early preseason sunshine awaits. I've got to say, Lennox Town looked marvelous over the weekend. Big shout out to Joe, who flew the drone and captured all that glorious footage, pure gold. It's always nice to see the setup come alive again, the place buzzing with players and drills. On Friday, John Kennedy popped up with a brief update on preseason. Not naming names, but the gist was that those players back in training on Friday will form the squad for this week's Queen's Park friendly. Most of the internationals are also set to rejoin on Friday, but those guys aren't expected to feature in that particular match. They'll likely ease into it during the Cork City friendly, or maybe later on during the Portugal trip. The majority of the squad, apart from perhaps Alistair Johnston, should be back and training from Friday. There's a little ambiguity in whether international players literally means those who've been on duty with their national teams, or if it just refers to players returning from various parts of the globe. Take Cameron Carter-Vickers, for instance, wasn't training last Friday. Same with Austin Trusty Rio Haddad or Maeda. Even though some haven't been away on international duty, they still weren't present. James Forrest's name was missing from the list, so there are still a few question marks. But trust me, it's no drama, just preseason rhythms winding back up. And of course, Friday's result matters not at all. It's all about getting everyone back, shaking off the cobwebs, building fitness levels, and keying up for the upcoming friendlies. From this week onwards, though, we'll begin to see the squad in action. Finally, right, but let's get to why we're really chatting today. Our next signing. Yesterday, the news came from Japan louder than a bagpipe on high volume. Center half Hayato Inamura from Albirex Niigata is reportedly heading our way. Now, this isn't old hat. This guy's talent has been monitored for weeks. Both Scottish and Japanese media have linked him to Celtic before, but yesterday things got serious. Japanese outlet Sponichi, a well-respected daily sports newspaper, has reported that Celtic and Niigata have struck an agreement. They say we're expecting an official announcement early this week, with Inamura heading to Scotland, undergoing a medical and signing up proper. They even mentioned that Saturday's match in Japan was Inamura's final game there. He departed after barely 6 months of professional football. That much is clear. They played Machida Salvia on Saturday, and well, it wasn't pretty. 4-0. At home, a bit of an ugly scoreline. Now, from what I saw in the highlights, Inamura didn't personally hand the goals over. His team just completely collapsed. I did see a replay of the fourth goal, though, and he seemed to fall to his knees as though he'd lost the ball leading up to it. Still, I didn't catch anything conclusive, so let's not hang the blame on him unfairly. Niigata are currently flirting with relegation spots in the J1 League, so overall, it wasn't a great outing. Still, after 6 months of regular first-team football, he's apparently ready to fly across the world. Honestly, when Sponichi reports something with this sort of certainty, saying multiple sources confirm Celtic and Niigata have reached an agreement, and that Inamura will be signing this week, it's safe to say it's pretty much done. So yeah, folks, it's official, we're getting a new center back. Now let's dig into the player himself. He isn't some household name, far from it. He's just 23 and has spent barely a year in the J1's first team. Before that, he was what's called a designated special player at Niigata while still at uni. That's something Rio Haddad also experienced. Essentially, Inamura has just over 6 months of senior football on his CV. Yes, that might raise eyebrows, but it doesn't necessarily mean he's a risk. Plenty of young talent has transitioned with minimal pro experience before. He's a left-footed center back, often deployed on the left of a back two. While he started out as a left back early in his career, almost all his professional time has come as a left side center half. And let me say, he looks comfortable on the ball. He can progress play either by bearing it forward himself or by picking out long passes through the lines. I remember one 60-yard ball he played that led to a goal for Nigato, a glorious line-breaking pass. On occasion he's given the ball away cheaply, but overall his composure and build-up is noticeable. What stood out to me most though was his carried dribble. He likes to pick up the ball at center half, drive into midfield, play a give and go, or even break forward into the opposition's box, not dissimilar to what Christopher Julian used to do for us. Maybe not quite the same power in his runs, but that progressive center half role carrying and moving play is something Brendan Rodgers has been calling for. It looks like we're getting exactly that. Of course, there are caveats. In the air, he's not imposing, and that could be an issue in Scottish football, which is more physical compared to the technical style in Japan. He doesn't look particularly dominant aerially in J1, and if that persists here, he could find himself bullied in set plays. It brings to mind Yuki Kobayashi, who had similar technical gifts, but found the physicality here tough to handle. It's a legitimate concern. Will Rodgers give him the backing he needs? If there are a few shaky performances early on, Celtic don't have time for teething problems in defense right off the bat. Still, there's real upside. At 23 with those technical traits, he could be a real find. He ticks lots of boxes: left-footed, progressive, fearless on the ball. If he can toughen up a bit, adapt to the physical side, he might become exactly what we've been asking for in a center half. My worry's simple: if he comes in and struggles physically or makes errors early on, will he be dropped in favor of more robust options? We've seen that happen before, with players like Kobayashi and even others like Narasic, Bielik, Taylor, guys who lost Rodgers' faith after a rocky start. Of course, some like Carl Starfelt got through it because there were no other options available. But will Celts commit to giving Inamura that same chance? I hope so. At the very least, this looks like a calculated gamble. Rodgers and the scouting team must have done their homework extensively. They presumably believe they can shape Inamura into a starting center half alongside Carter Vickers. But even if he begins as a squad option, he brings something different: passing range, dribbling out of defense, midfield progression that we haven't had regularly. And it's not just him. When you combine this with confirmed incoming signings like Tierney, Ross, Duhon, Benjamin Siegrist, and perhaps others on the horizon like Osmond, you can sense Celtic are shaping a team that's both technically strong and more versatile. So yes, concerns remain, but there's also hope. With fresh legs, fresh skill sets, a bit of competition for places, we might be seeing a different pace from Celtic this upcoming season. Summer's been deeper, quicker, and whilst not perfect, feels more positive than what we witnessed last year. In fact, if you look back to July of last summer, we only managed one real signing of note: Sinan Bolat from Aston Villa on the 16th. This time much earlier and richer movement. So as we look ahead to the rest of the summer, it's pretty clear Celtic aren't sitting still. There's a real sense this time that things are moving with a bit of purpose, a bit of sharpness, like we've actually got a plan. Even the cynics out there, the ones grumbling about whether the new signings are first-team ready or just for squad depth, have to admit to solid first-team improvements before July. That's no bad at all. Tierney, if everything goes to plan, is a game-changer straight away. Negrin as well, someone who looks like he'll push right into the squad and shake things up a bit. You can feel the tempo shift already, and even if players like Duhan or Inamura are seen more as ones for development, they add options, competition, and hopefully a bit of freshness that we lacked last season. Let's be honest, the second half of last season felt a bit stale at times: injuries, flat performances, and a real lack of spark in certain games. So the club clearly knew something had to change, and they're acting on it. You bring in a few new faces, sprinkle in some of the lads who are just getting properly settled like Engels or Adam Ida, and suddenly the squad looks a bit livelier. And Rodgers said himself back in May he'd want 3 quality signings if everyone stayed put. Now Kieran Tierney maybe wasn't even included in that 3 since his return was already being worked on at the time. So you'd think Negrin is one, a striker could be another, and maybe a winger or a creative midfielder to round it off. That's the blueprint at least. But beyond that, there's still holes to patch. Left back is still a wee concern unless Tierney's playing there full time. Central midfield maybe needs a bit more depth too, especially if anyone leaves. And we've always got to account for departures. That's just the nature of the game. So I still work to be done, but the signs are there that the club's trying to get ahead of things this year. The big hope is that the energy from these new faces spreads through the dressing room. That hunger, that buzz you get from real competition for places, that's what pushes standards up. And when you've got lads like Inamura, Coman, and even if he's not ready from day one, just having that potential on the training pitch raises everyone's game, so all told it's been a decent start to the summer. Far from perfect, still loads of questions, but definitely better vibes than last time round. Let's hope it keeps going that way. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are growing louder across the Scottish football scene as rumors swirl that Lawrence Shankland could be on the brink of a sensational move from Hearts to Celtic. While no official word has come from either club, the chatter among fans and insiders alike suggests there may be more than just smoke to this fire. Shankland, who has been a talismanic presence for the Jambos, is reportedly attracting serious interest from the green and white half of Glasgow. His goal-scoring prowess in the Premiership hasn't gone unnoticed, and with Celtic possibly looking to bolster their attacking options ahead of a crucial campaign, both domestically and in Europe, a move for the prolific striker would make sense, at least on paper. The idea of Shankland donning the hoops is stirring mixed emotions among the Tynecastle faithful. After all, he's been a fan favorite, leading from the front and often dragging the team forward with crucial goals and leadership. But football is a game of opportunities and shifting allegiances, and with Hearts potentially looking to capitalize on their prized asset before his contract winds down, the timing may be right for all parties. Insiders suggest that Celtic's interest is very real, with whispers of preliminary talks already underway. Brendan Rodgers is said to admire Shankland's intelligent movement, physicality, and finishing touch, qualities that would complement the current Celtic front line. With the Parkhead club always on the lookout for homegrown talent that can make an immediate impact, Shankland certainly fits the bill. Still, this is the Scottish Premiership, and such moves between rival clubs are rarely straightforward. Hearts are unlikely to let their captain go without a fight, and any deal would have to meet their valuation, both financially and in terms of timing. There's also the matter of how Shankland himself views the potential switch. While a step up in stature in European football might tempt any player, leaving a leadership role at Hearts would not come lightly. Nothing's done yet, but the rumblings are persistent. Keep an eye on this one. If the deal goes through, it could be one of the most talked about transfers of the summer window. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.